Talk boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Unified minimum weight champion Yokasta Valle took to her social media and stated, Senicia Estrada sent me a TikTok. Funny thing is, I've been looking for this fight since 2018.
Really?
Also signed with Golden Boy Promotions to fight her, but she left. Now she wants to put me a time with a quote-unquote offer. The only thing is, I'm sad Jessica Neri Plata is going to whoop her. To which Senicia Estrada replied, even funnier is the fight you supposedly been wanting is right here in front of you, and suddenly you don't want it. And yeah, I left Golden Boy Promotions. Golden Boy didn't even know who you were in 2018. They don't care about you. They already know you'll take another L against me.
Bonafide case of he said, she said. Just my thoughts.
I'm not surprised this is where we are in what is supposed to be this unification match between the two remaining champions at minimum weight. I figured there was going to be trouble in paradise.
Yokasta Valle mentioned how Senicia Estrada left Golden Boy Promotions, but she didn't mention why she left Golden Boy Promotions. They were at odds over the money. Senicia Estrada felt that she should be paid more, but Golden Boy didn't want to compensate her.
So she took her business elsewhere, crossed over to Top Rank and ESPN, and they, in effect, paid her more money. The kind of money Golden Boy didn't want to give her.
In a nutshell.
They are fully capable of financing this fight, bankrolling it, and paying Yokasta Valle a career-high purse. A career-high purse to fight Senicia Estrada. Consider that in Senicia's last fight, she took on Tina Ruprecht.
The woman who beat Yokasta Valle years ago. Years later,
She fought Senicia Estrada, and she was dominated by Senicia Estrada.
if you've got it in your head that Senicia is running from Yokasta Valle, consider Senicia's track record.
Senicia's been beating champions anywhere in between minimum weight and light flyweight. She beat long-reigning WBA champion Annabelle Ortiz, long-reigning WBC champion Tina Ruprecht upstairs at light flyweight. She took Tenkai Tsunami's WBO title.
She beat then unbeaten Olympian and bronze medalist Marlene Esparza.
So what the hell she got to worry about in a Yokasta Valle?
Nothing.
She'd beat Yokasta Valle, and I believe Yokasta knows it. So does Marv Nation, and so does Golden Boy. That's why they're sandbagging it. They don't want to send Yokasta over there to Top Rank and ESPN to get beat.
That's what would happen.
Golden Boy's holding a grudge that Senicia Estrada, like Canelo Alvarez, who they regularly take shots at, they're holding a grudge that Senicia, like Canelo, she left them.
That's what it is, and they don't want to give her the satisfaction of a Yokasta Valle fight.
There's no way to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and accommodate everybody. There's no way to tell the whole truth and spare everyone's feelings. You ask me what I think is going on here, what's truly going on here, and Yokasta Valle is ducking Senicia Estrada. That's what it is.
I'm not surprised.
Not that Yokasta Valle isn't a good fighter, a decorated fighter. She's all those things and more, but she's still not on Senicia's level, and she knows it. If she fights Senicia, she'll lose.
Yeah, they can offer her a career-high purse for one fight, just one fight, but in Yokasta Valle's mind and her team...
Why gamble all the progress they've made for one fight, just one fight, one career-high purse, when they can make safe money, comfortable money, not fighting Senicia?
They know they can't beat her. They're not stupid.
Exactly what would happen if they fought. What they're waiting for is for Senicia to move back up to light flyweight, vacate the two titles she has at minimum weight so that Yokasta can then, in effect, pick them up. Maybe she has a rematch with Tina Ruprecht.
For one or some of Senicia's vacant titles. They're waiting for her to move up. They're waiting for her to vacate. Why do you think she brought up Jessica Neri Plata, unified champion at light flyweight?
They know. Senicia's not going to wait around for Yokasta. If Yokasta wants to sandbag it, what Senicia's going to do is move up to light flyweight and simply challenge Jessica for her two alphabet titles.
They knew this was going to happen.
The silver lining is Senicia Estrada won't have as many issues with Jessica Plata as what she's facing with Yokasta Valle. Jessica will take the fight. I believe that Evelyn Bermudez, she'll take it with no problems as well. The way I think this is all going to break down.
Yokasta's just waiting for Senicia to leave. She's waiting for her to vacate her title so she can try to become the minimum weight division's undisputed champion.
While she's doing that, maybe the very next time we see Senicia, it'll be opposite the ring, Jessica Neri Plata.
In all likelihood, Top Rank send the Yokasta Valle people an offer, but the Valle people likely priced themselves out.
They likely asked for a dollar amount that just doesn't make sense.
It's usually how these things go.
Yokasta, God bless her, She doesn't make per fight what Senicia Estrada makes. She doesn't have the endorsements, the sponsorships that Senicia Estrada has.
Top Rank likely offered her a very nice purse.
But because Yo Costa and her team don't really want this fight, don't really want to run those risks, they likely asked for a dollar amount that just doesn't make sense.
So I expect that sometime in the summer months, maybe in July, at or around there, Senicia will return to the light flyweight division, move upstairs, and fight Jessica next.
That's what I'm expecting, and Yo Costa Valle will stay safe and sound downstairs at minimum weight.
That's the gist of it.
Everybody that's on here, because this is the thing. Commentators are the ones that, and they the ones that convince everybody someone else is winning.
Yeah.
So watch the Kambosos fight without the commentators.
I did.
Watch my last fight without the commentators.
I did.
And you will see the results.
Hey, yo, put it this way, yo, Tio. If you ever watched your own fight on the Spanish one, they had you win in 97, 93 like it was easy. Like the commentator was way different than the ESPN commentator.
Well, it's because they don't like us, bro. It's because
So Matchroom set him up and ESPN doesn't like him.
Pretty much.
weight on my back, and all they was talking about right away when I slipped in the first knockdown they called, I slipped. They called it right away with the ground. He said he hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't sugarcoat shit. All these motherfuckers dick ride and they suck dick. Sorry for my language. No. But that is the problem. I don't ride off that.
Yeah.
And just to even put it more on this fight, this is my last fight on ESPN. Because this is no longer. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. This is why this fight means everything to me. If they want the black fighters, they could keep them. I brought Bud Light to Top Rank.
Teofimo Lopez still thinks he won the George Kambosos fight.
Yeah.
Teofimo Lopez is under the impression that he did good, looked good in the Sandor Martin fight. This is the impression that he's under. This is the same Teofimo Lopez that said that the people at the Zone, they set him up. They set it all up so George Kambosos would win.
Why would they do that? How would that have benefited them?
George Kambosos wasn't their fighter. He was a Lou DiBella Entertainment fighter, and we all know Lou's not crazy about Eddie.
So why would they rig it? Why would they fix the fight for George to win? Moreover,
That fight wasn't fixed. You lost.
you lost the fight.
It's no conspiracy, no collusion. You simply lost to George Kambosos because you took him lightly. And according to Teofimo, immediately after the fight, he fought sick. Something going on in his chest. Air.
My honest opinion is that George Kambosos fought the worst version of Teofimo Lopez I've ever seen. And if there were a rematch, I would have actually picked Teofimo to win it.
The reason that Teofimo fought that fight the way that he fought that fight, guns blazing, looking for a big knockout, looking for a big shot that ended up getting him countered, the reason he did that,
He wanted to end the night early. End it early so he could hurry up and get to the hospital.
I actually believe him. I believe what he said post-fight, that he was sick. He wasn't feeling well. But after all the time they already spent on this thing, they couldn't back out.
Remember, they weren't happy with the money Top Rank was going to put up for the Kambosos fight, so they let it go to a purse bid. They jumped into bed with Triller. Triller got the rights to the fight. Then Triller ended up defaulting.
Matchroom was the second highest bidder, so when Triller defaulted after they lost all that time on this show, the rights to the show went to Matchroom.
He fought Vasyl Lomachenko in late 2020, and he didn't get around to fighting George until late 2021. The amount of time that they spent on this thing.
That was their own fault, their own greed. Had they simply done the fight at Top Rank's price, yeah, they wouldn't have made as much money, but they probably wouldn't have got beat either.
Because the fight wouldn't have taken as long to make. It wouldn't have taken the better portion of a year to take on a simple IBF mandatory.
You say that Top Rank should have simply just adhered to Teofimo's financial demands? Are you forgetting that we were coming out of the pandemic and everyone was feeling the pinch? Did you forget that Lopez versus Kambosos wasn't a hot ticket? It's not the kind of fight you break the bank to make. Did you forget that?
Did you forget that even though Triller bid an inordinate amount of money to win the rights for the fight, and they won it, a part of their plan was to bill it as a pay-per-view. In hindsight, did that fight seem like a box office fight to you? Did you have intentions of purchasing that thing? You know you didn't. Most people didn't.
Lopez's own greed and his inability to take ownership for his own actions, his own business decisions, is what has led him to this point. This point where he's having these emotional outbursts.
This is why this fight means everything to me. If they want the black fighters, they could keep them. I brought Bud Light to Top Rank.
What do black fighters have to do with you losing to George Kambosos on a Matchroom show? George ain't black, and neither is Eddie.
And neither is the guy you're about to fight. Josh Taylor's a white guy from Scotland.
What do black fighters have to do with how you looked with Sandor Martin? What do they have to do with that?
Nothing.
Teofimo Lopez still refuses to take ownership for his own downfall, his own mistakes. He hasn't learned from them, and this is what I was afraid of.
He already struck me as a rather unstable character, an unstable fighter that comes from an unstable family, a dysfunctional one, his father.
He later took to social media to explain his son's ramblings, saying that he feels like he's been deprioritized in fighters like Shushu Carrington and Keyshawn Davis, Jared Anderson, that they're getting priority at Top Rank, and he isn't.
That's no excuse to be a bigot.
Does the color of their skin have to do with how Top Rank runs their business? What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, back when you were winning and you were doing it in good fashion, you were a priority. You ain't been looking like yourself.
But that doesn't mean they turned on you, because in many ways, Teofimo doesn't deserve this title shot.
He's lucky he's getting it because they could have made him fight Arnold Barboza.
He's lucky he's getting it because based on how he looked in his last fight, he could have lost that thing. It's not like he looked good. He didn't.
If they really had it in for you, they could have fixed it the way they give Sandor Martin a decision.
Cut you loose. Let you go. The way they let Edgar Berlanga go.
As soon as he became a liability, you're becoming a liability.
If they really had it in for Teofimo Lopez, they would have shipped him out to Scotland. That was the original plan, for Josh Taylor to defend a WBO title in Scotland. As it stands, they've given you home field advantage.
Fights happening in your neck of the woods. The champion is coming to you. If they really had it in for you, that wouldn't be the case.
Teofimo's losing it. He's coming apart at the seams, and I'd wager it's because he's unsure of himself going into this fight. This apprehensiveness. This is not the kind of behavior you want to elicit ahead of a big fight like this. The rest of your career is on the other side of this fight, and you're already burning bridges.
You're saying this is your last fight on Top Rank and ESPN? Good.
Great.
That means they ain't got to do you no favors.
No new ones. You better hope this ain't a close fight, because if it is, this is your last fight on Top Rank and ESPN, and I'm sure they'd prefer to keep that brown belt on their side of things.
Yeah.
Since you want a whole tail.
Yeah.
You say that they're not pushing you anymore. They're not pushing you the same way that they used to. But at the Shakur Stevenson fight, Josh Taylor was in attendance and Teofimo wasn't.
Josh flew in all the way from Scotland to promote their fight. And where was Teofimo?
In another part of the country, at the UFC event. You're telling me attending a UFC event was more important than promoting your own fight?
You're an end grade.
Got a big head after that Lomachenko fight. Not realizing the circumstances. You actually tried to backdoor Top Rank. You likely colluded with Triller.
They came from out of nowhere with all that money.
You, your father, David McWater. You tried to collude with Matchroom for a Devin Haney fight. You tried to backdoor your own people.
2 times.
And they still got your title shot.
This is how you thank them.
Teofimo made his bed, and now he's got to lie in it. I don't think he's in the right headspace for this fight.
Then again, he hasn't been in the right headspace for a while now.
Finally, in men's light heavyweight news, per a tweet from International Boxing News, Anthony Yarde is ready for a ring return after his 8th round TKO loss to Artur Beterbiev. Anthony revealed Frank Warren has spoken to team Joe Smith Jr. for a potential clash.
This is not the first we've heard of this fight.
And I genuinely like it. It's a genuinely intriguing matchup. Not quite sure who's going to win because both guys are coming right off of losses to the same guy, the same champion, unified champion, Artur Beterbiev. When last we saw Joe, he got stopped in 2 rounds. When last we saw Anthony, he got stopped in 8.
I get the sense that if this fight is going to happen, it's going to happen across the pond, in the United Kingdom.
It's worth some money over there. And this is one of those fights that reminds you that there ain't got to be a title on the line, and it ain't got to be 2 pound-for-pound guys for it to be a good fight. Anthony Yarde versus Joe Smith Jr. will not disappoint.
That's an action fight.
Between 2 action guys, you can argue that Joe Smith Jr. is limited, and you can make that same argument about Anthony Yarde. But
that don't mean it's not a good fight. It is a good fight. And it's not a foregone conclusion that either man wins. Anthony Yarde sports a professional record of 23 wins with 3 losses, no draws,
2 knockouts, having been knocked out 2 times in 26 professional contests, 26 professional bouts.
You have to wonder how the odds makers are going to price this thing. Who's going to be the underdog?
Both guys pack a decent-sized punch. Both guys, to some degree, are viewed as durable, though both guys have been stopped before. Joe Smith Jr., he sports a professional record of 28 wins, 4 losses, no draws, 22 knockouts, having been knocked out 2 times.
Only 2 times in 32 professional contests. And Joe Smith Jr., he's no wallflower. He's gotten out there on the dance floor with some of the better fighters in today's light heavyweight division.
Bernard Hopkins, Andres Fanfara, Sullivan Barrera,
Jesse Hart.
Dmitry Bivol, Maxim Vlasov, Artur Beterbiev, you name it.
Joe's no wallflower. He's gotten on the dance floor plenty of times.
It's been close to a year's time since we last saw Joe. We last saw Joe in June of last year, opposite the ring Artur Beterbiev, who stopped him in 2 rounds. Just 2 rounds.
It's been 10, 11 months, 10 going on 11 months since this guy fought.
Does that help him or does that hurt him ahead of what could be an Anthony Yarde fight? You have to figure that if they're going to do this thing, maybe they're going to do it in July, towards the end of July or the beginning of August.
Maybe.
If they do, it will have been over a year's time since Joe saw action. So does that help him or does that hurt him ahead of a potential Anthony Yarde fight?
On one end, you say that because the guy hasn't fought in a while, he's got ring rust that he needs to shake off, and that's less than ideal. But on the other end, you say that he's had more time to recuperate, more time to recover from that second round knockout loss to Artur, whereas Anthony's fought something like 2 times in the last 12 months. He saw action late last year in November against Stefani Koikov. He was in action early this year in January. There's a better beef fight.
Got hit a lot in that fight. Maybe he don't got ring rust to shake off like Joe Smith Jr. does.
He got hit a lot in that fight. Might be tenderized.
Stylistically, there aren't very many subtleties and nuances to Joe Smith Jr.'s approach. He's a rather crude brawler, pressure guy.
Whereas Anthony, he's more of a boxer puncher, a slickster, rolls punches off the shoulder, counters in kind, goes to the body.
Good power, and he shows a good variety of punches, but he can be stopped. Then again, so can Joe.
Who's more durable?
I don't know.
He's got more power.
I don't know.
Who's gonna win a fight?
I don't know.
That's why we watch. It's not a foregone conclusion that either man wins.
So Anthony really endeared himself to the boxing fans over there in the UK with the performance that he put on against the beast from the East, Artur Beterbiev.
If he can get himself back in the winner's bracket before the year is out, that's encouraging.
May not have an unblemished record like Dan Aziz or Joshua Buatsi, these unbeaten fighters, but he's got more marquee value right now than they do because they know.
The boxing fans do that. When this guy fights, he's gonna put on a show, win or lose. And that in and of itself is worth something.
I really like this fight, I do, and I hope that they can get it over the line.